Hello everyone, today I want to retelling the story about Romeo and Juliet in the movie 1996. Before it, I want to introduce myself. My name is Mila Anjani and I'm a student from Bali International University in the Hospital Administration Study Program. So, to short the time now, I want to start the story. In an area called Verona, there are two rich families, the Capulet and Montague families. The two of them had long been enemies, so their families were not allowed to see each other often. If they met, there would be dispute that could lead to bloodshed. One hot morning, a fight broke out between the servants of Capulet and Montague, which disturbed the tranquility of the city of Verona. The police must settle the dispute between Mr. Capulet and Montague. The police will give the punishment for the first person who destroyed the peace. Once, the Capulet family threw a party to introduce their daughter to Paris, who was going to become their daughter's husband named Juliet. Girls and nobles were invited except for the Montague families. Romeo with Bonfolio and Mercutio go to a party held by the Capulet family wearing masks. Mr. Capulet welcomed them and invited them to dance with the girl who had come. However, when Romeo praised his dance partner, one of the Capulet family members heard his voice. He is Thibault, the cousin of Juliet. He cannot accept the presence of member of Montague family. He also reported this to Mr. Capulet so that he could be allowed to come over and kill Romeo, but Mr. Capulet refused his wish. After dancing, Romeo looked for the girl who had been dancing with him. They chatted and became friends. Suddenly, the girl called by her mother. When the girl left, Romeo asked the girl's name to the servant, and the servant told that she was the daughter of Mr. Capulet. Juliet also told the waiter to find out the name of the dance man. Not long, the waiter came back and said that his name was Romeo and he was a Montague. Romeo and Juliet could not hide their love feelings. They fall in love even though it was dangerous. Finally, Romeo and his two friends come home from the party, but Romeo decides to return to Juliet's house. Romeo decides to climb a tree to meet Juliet. Juliet didn't want to pretend to Romeo about her feelings. Juliet admits that she loves Romeo and hopes to become his lover. Juliet had given her love to Romeo before he asked for it. Juliet revealed that she loved Romeo deeply. Not long, her servant came. Before go to room, Juliet informed Romeo that tomorrow she would send a messenger to ask when Romeo would marry her, and she would follow Romeo wherever he went. The next morning, Romeo still could not close his eyes, and his mind was filled with image of Juliet. Then Romeo went to court to meet Pastor Lawrence. Romeo told his feeling about his love for Juliet with the Capulet family. Romeo asked Lawrence to marry Juliet to him that day. Lawrence agreed. He thought that the marriage would reconcile the Capulet and Montague families. Finally, Romeo married with Juliet. They were married off by Pastor Lawrence, after which Juliet returned to home and promised to meet at night. On the same day, Mercutio fights with Thibault, but Mercutio dies because he was defeated by Thibault. Romeo, who is angry, to see his friend die, fight with Tybalt, and finally Tybalt died by Romeo. Not long, the police who heard the fight came and asked Bonfolio to tell him what happened from the start. Finally, the police punished Romeo by banishing him from the city. Romeo takes refuge in Lauren's house. Lawrence advises Romeo, but Romeo doesn't want to hear anything. When Romeo calmed down a little, Mr. Lawrence again advised him to meet Juliet, and after that, immediately went to Mantua, where they could stay until it was time to announce their marriage. At the Capulet house, there was a meeting between Mr. Capulet with his wife and Paris to discuss plans for Juliet's wedding. Romeo managed to meet Juliet in her room. On that night, the joy and the sadness had been mixed, but the sadness of the two lovers was more dominant. Before separated with Juliet, Romeo promised to send letters from Mantua every day. Not long, Mr. Capulet told Juliet that she had an arranged marriage with Paris. Juliet refused the wish. However, Mr. Capulet still wants Juliet to marry with Paris. Juliet goes to see Pastor Lawrence and asks for advice. Pastor Lawrence offers a plan. He asks Juliet to accept her father's request, and after that, he will give Juliet a potion that can make Juliet sleep for tonight. Juliet agrees with the plan because she doesn't want to betray Romeo. On the night before marriage, Juliet drank a potion from Pastor Lawrence. When Paris came to pick up Juliet in the morning, he was surprised that Juliet was stiff. Then Juliet was placed in a chest and brought to church. Juliet, that messenger, was faster than the Lawrence messenger. Knowing the death of his wife, Romeo went to the city of Verona, but before that, Romeo stopped to buy poison. Romeo arrived in Verona. Romeo approached his wife Calvin, kissed her lip, and finally drank a potion. Juliet waked up and suspected Romeo drank a potion because he saw Romeo's hand holding a cup of glass. Finally, Juliet shot her head with a gun and dies by her lover's side. Finally, the Capulet, Montague families and the police arrive. The police asked the Montague and Capulet to reflect on what had happened. The two families agreed to make peace. The Capulet reached out to Montague and called him brother. The death of Romeo and Juliet put an end to the dispute between the Capulet and Montague families. And okay, that's all that I can share the story about Romeo and Juliet in the movie 1996. Thank you for the attention and see you.